Greetings and salutations. That's correct, class. Salutations from Mr. Brzezinski. I'm going to talk you through a word processing project in how to write a business letter. Okay, most things that we are going to attempt to write, we might need to look up on the internet. For business letters, for cover letters, for professional purposes, we might have to be able to follow a format. So that's what we're going to concentrate on here. Now, I'm assuming you've already found this video and you have a tab at the upper part of your screen here. What this video is currently in, you could take this video and pull this out. Pull the tab down and out, and it creates a separate window. I can now resize the window in the lower right hand side of the screen right here and resize it so that it maybe is not taking up so much room, so I can fit things on my desktop. So I can move this to the right hand side, and then I can work in the classroom right here and ultimately in my project in another window. So I can have the video running and be doing work at the same time. If you are not currently in the assignment, go ahead and click on the business letter assignment. You will see here that there is an example, the JPEG file. You can click on that and open that. It creates a new tab. We can again drag this tab out and create a new window and resize as necessary. We may need to zoom in on this document. I can click zoom in a couple times, adjust the bar so that I can see the document in a nice, easily visible manner. Coming back to the assignment now, I can see down here at below it says your work. I'm going to attach a file directly to this assignment. It will also be in my Google Drive in my classroom for this class, but right now I'm going to click add, and I'm going to create a new word processing document by clicking on docs. It creates the file, automatically attaches it to the assignment, and now I can open the file and start to get to work. Now, don't get all click happy just yet. Before we begin, let's review a few things. You're going to watch this video. I'm going to explain how you are to type the document. Then you're going to pause the video, type the rest of the document, and then come back to the video to get formatting tips on how to make this project complete. Let's start off with how to type it. So a lot of times before I begin typing a professional letter or cover letter or any type of word processing document, I will look online for an example. Sometimes when you see these examples that are instructing you on how to properly type it, they will use some symbols. Take a look at this symbol here. This is a return symbol, which is telling you that there is a blank line here that you won't be typing on. And these return symbols also show up at the end of each line. So when you type the street right here, you would hit return and it would send you down to the next line. I don't show you them at the end of this line, but you know that after you're done typing this street, whatever street it is, you hit return and it brings you down to the next line. I type this line out and then I hit return, I come down to the next line. When I get down to the year here, I need a quadruple space, which means you're hitting the return symbol 4 times. So if the cursor's here at the end of the 0, I hit return once, twice, 3, 4 times, and I'm ready to type the next line. So this right here would be called a quadruple space. As I move further down the document, you will see that I have what is known as a double space. When I use this document over here and I say, okay, I have this line, then I hit return once, that's a single space. I come down here and now I need one blank line separating the 2 lines right here. So that's called a double space. So I hit return once to come here, twice to go there. So that's a double space. Sometimes it is abbreviated DS for double space on an instructional piece of material so that I know that I'm hitting return twice to get down to that line. As you'll see on your document, up top, there's a quadruple space. Down at the bottom, there's a quadruple space. This area would be where you would sign your name. Everything else, the rest of the time, all the way through, is a double space in between each section. This you would type directly out and allow the word processor to do the text wrap when you get to the end of the line right here. So you just continue typing, and the word processor itself will bring you down to the next line. In just one moment, I will release you so that you can start typing. But before I do, I want to tell you something else. We are going to be setting up tabs down here at the players. We're going to create this chart, and we're going to align all these columns over here, and we're going to do that using tabs. Sometimes the tab symbol will be shown on a word processing document as like this. You will not put this in. This is a symbol to be seen but not actually done. So when you come down to the player, we're going to be setting up tabs. Come back to the video to learn how to set up these tabs a little bit later. You may now begin typing at the top left-hand side where your cursor initially shows up for your project. Okay, so right there is where I'm going to start typing, and I'm going to start off with my street address. So you're going to put in your street address. You're going to put in the city, Bethlehem. Use your punctuation. Put in the state, PA. And put in your full zip code, 18018, 18017, whatever it is. And then you're going to put today's date in there. You are not going to change font styles, sizes. Don't even think about touching this bar yet. First, we're going to type. Later, we will adjust things on the word processing document. You can see today's date by clicking on the time in the upper right-hand side of your screen right there. You don't need the day of the week it is, but you should write out the entire month as shown here with the comma inserted. So again, right at the top, I'm going to start typing my address right at the top. That's going to be your address. You're going to put in your address right there at the top, and then I'm going to type out the entire date of today right there. And again, I want to hit return 4 times from this cursor here, because I see that I have a quadruple space right there with 3 blank spaces before I start typing again. And I hit return 1, 2, 3, and that's where I'm going to start typing my next line of information, Miss Tanya DeGrave. So you will go through and you will begin typing now and put in all the areas here. Remember that you need capital letters where there's capital letters, you need the commas where there's supposed to be commas, and periods where there's supposed to be periods. Make sure it is perfect, because your first impression with this business or corporation may be your last one. So if you screw up the business letter, chances are you're not getting that job. As you're typing, you may notice that there are some misspelled words. If you ever have misspelled words, you made the typo, the direction or the example here had a typo in it. Let's make sure that we fix those typos right now by right-clicking on the word that has the red line underneath of it. And you can see I right-click on that, or I hold down Control and I simply click, and it asks me, did you mean to say Tanya? Yes, that's supposed to be Tanya. And as you can see here, I misspelled the name up here. Make sure that you definitely need to spell the person's name correctly, and I double check it, and yes, it is supposed to be DeGrave. So make sure that you are spelling correctly to make sure that you're not making that error. And then you have other words along the way here. So go ahead and go through any typos that you might have and any things you might need to be corrected right here. You can use the spell check, the auto spell check within Google. So pause the video now, continue typing the rest of this document all the way down through until you get down to the word player where you're going to be setting tabs. So continue typing all this stuff until you get down to the word player, and then come back to this video and I'll be here waiting. Well, now that didn't take long, did it? We're down here, we've typed all the material right up until I see the word player as shown exactly on the website. on the example there that I had. All right, I'm down here at the word player now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up tabs so that I can get to these areas right here and align that. I'm not going to use the space bar. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to use tab, 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 because then sometimes it just doesn't line up right. So I'm going to use a right tab stop. And to create a right tab stop, all I need to do is come up into the ruler at the top of the page right here, and I simply click on the number 3. This is where I want my first tab stop to be. I'll click on the number 3, and it says add a right tab stop. Boom, done. And it shows me the triangle facing this way, which means the words are going to come out in this direction, which will give me a right-hand side margin like you see here. So if I come back over and I'm going to set up another tab at the 4.5, so halfway in between 4 and 5, 4.5, I click right there, add a right tab stop there, and again at the 6, click on the 6, add a right tab stop right there. So now I have 3 right tab stops at the 3, 4.5, and 6 inch mark. Now, with my cursor just behind the player, and in fact I might need to highlight and just delete any extra spots that I might have down below here like this. Okay, so I click and I highlight, and if I have extra lines, I'm going to delete them right away, get rid of them so that there's no confusion about where these tabs are going. Now, with the cursor behind the word player, clear that up, I hit the tab button on the keyboard. Just above the cap locks, I hit the tab button, and it automatically takes me out to the tab stop right there. Okay, and now I'm going to go back and I'm going to fill in points from my example there. So I'm down here and I put in points, and you can see the letters come out from the opposite direction. They're going to the left now because this is a right stop tab. And then when I hit tab, it'll come out to the next tab. Tab, boom, right there. And the next word is rebounds, as you will see on your example. And when I hit tab again, all the way to the end, and then years. Okay, I hit return once, it takes me back down to the player, and then I can start typing in people's names, boom, 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 and every time I type in Brian Cabrera, and then I hit the tab, 25, tab 7, 25, 8th grade, hit return, come back down again for every player on the list. Then you can continue out the rest of this document, as you see here, making sure that your spacing is correct. Once you're finished with that, come back to this video and I will give you a list of formatting features that I want you to do. All right, so let's format this business letter project. First, I need you to change hometown news to the morning call. So I don't need the parentheses, but I'm just going to use the words the morning call in place of the words hometown news. So let's go back to my document. I find where it says hometown news in the document, and I can double click and drag across. So I double click the word hometown news, I drag across, and now it's highlighting just those words, hometown news, and I type in the morning call right there. So the next one right here is change the whole letter to Arial font size 12. Arial font is a very easy font to read, so it's very good to use for business letters and professional uses. So I have Arial font size 12. So I go back to my document here and I go up, and first I need to select everything on the page. So I just click, make sure that I have my cursor on the page, and Command A to select all. You can see here my spacing with the blank lines right there, but then you could also see that it is going to change everything all at once here. And I'm already on Arial font, and if you've selected any other font, go back to Arial font here and then go to size 12. Easy to read. We're not worried about it trailing off onto a second page here because the document is not that large. So Arial font size 12, I need to select all and then change that. So Command A, or of course I could use the edit menu right here and use the select all feature from the edit menu. Right there it is. Back to the list. Number 3, be sure to set the right tabs at 3, 4.5, and 6. The video already went through this. All I have to do is make sure that it is lined up and I don't have any spaces before or after the number. Sometimes I get crazy here and I put a couple spaces here, or there's a space here, or it might not work itself out correctly. So you want to make sure that it's directly aligned so that it goes right underneath the right tab, as you'll see here. So all those tabs are set up correctly, and I can see that's done, so I can move on to the next one. Boldface the words player, points, rebounds, and year. Okay, so I come back over to my document, and I'm going to boldface these words, points, player, rebounding, year. And I can select an entire row by triple clicking on that row. So I go anywhere in this row. Okay, player, points, in between, 1, 2, 3, and it selects the entire row. I triple click on that, and it selects the entire row. Now I can come up for my formatting and simply select bold. Then I come down here, and that makes the titles of my columns bold and makes them stick out a little bit more, easier to read. Do that now. Boy, we are ripping right through here. Number 5, change the comma after the salutation to a colon. Aha, salutation. What? That sounds familiar, maybe from the beginning of the video. Yes, the salutation or the greeting is the salutation. So the Dear Mrs. DeGrave, let's go back over, find Dear Mrs. DeGrave. This is the greeting or the salutation of the letter right here. So I'm going to change this comma, as stated in the instructions, to a colon, not a semicolon, but a colon, as shown, 2 dots right there. This is a formal business letter format. I do not know this person, so I put a colon after there instead of a comma. If it was a informal or a friendly business letter, a person that I've done business with before, I can use that comma. This one needs a colon because it's formal. On to number 6. Move the paragraph starting with the word photographs below the chart, below the table that I made there with the tabs. But maintain the proper spacing. That's important. So let's check out how. Back over here, I identify the paragraph that says photographs of players can be found. Okay, and now I need to put it underneath the table under here. But then I have to adjust my spacing to make sure that it is correct. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off on the left-hand side of photographs, and I'm going to click down and across till I select the entire paragraph, starting with the word photographs. Now I'm going to cut this material out here. So I can go up here to edit and say edit, cut. It will take the material out of the way. I can adjust my spacing here. I come down underneath the chart, and I need one blank space before I put the paragraph in, because when I look back at my example, I always need a single space in between all paragraphs up and down, and only in the beginning and the end do I have these quadruple spaces. Everything else is a double space, meaning I hit the return symbol twice. So everything else, as you see here, is double space, so I need to maintain that double spacing. So I have one blank space, and then I can paste this material in here with an edit paste. It puts that paragraph in there, and it put one space after it too. Perfect. If this space is not there, like this, then hit return once and create that space back again. So I have one space in front of my table there and one space after it. Change the closing to sincerely yours. Not a problem here. I understand what the closing is. That's that last bit of information before I put my name. So I come back over to my example right here, and I scan down. I find truly yours, and instead of truly yours, I want to put in sincerely yours. Okay, in the final stage here, I want to make sure that all words are spelled correctly. I did all that spell check for the entire letter, and then I also want to make sure that I have capitalization on the proper word. So I go back to my document over here, and I'm going to scan up, and make sure that I have all the words that are misspelled corrected. The word Nichman is shown as misspelled. However, that is the correct spelling of Nichman, so I don't have to worry about that. I go through and I make sure that there was capital letters where I need capital letters in the city, state, Bethlehem, PA, whatever, and make sure that all of this was done properly. Now let's check the spacing. So if I click anywhere and then hit Command A to select all, I can now judge how many spaces are here. I need 3 spaces at the top, 3 spaces at the bottom, as shown here on my example document. 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom, double space everywhere else, which means a single blank line in between all other items. So let's go back here. I have 1, 2, 3. 3 spaces there, good. And then I check down my document and I have 1 blank space here, 1 blank, not 2 blank spaces, just 1 blank area, but it's a double space because I return once, return twice, then I start typing again. And as you come down here, double space, double space, double space, all the way down to the bottom, and triple space underneath the closing, because this is where I would sign my name with a pen and then mail out this letter. Once I am certain that this is all done, you could put up your help card, ask Mr. Brzezinski just to look over it and make sure that it was done 100%, because a trained eye will be able to pick out the mistakes of a business letter in 2 seconds. So once you're sure everything was done correct, you can see up here it says all changes have been saved in the drive. That's in the center of my document. And then I could turn it in right from here if I wanted to, or I can go back to my classroom stream, go back into the assignment, and I can see my work has been attached to the document. Once I am done, I can simply say turn in right here. It asks me, are you sure you want to turn it in? And I simply select turn in again. And then I wait for the grade. It'll show up not only in my email, but it will also show up on this assignment page from here on out once I have that grade. So you simply say turn in.